Have you ever wondered who the Sniffer really is? This mob was added over a year ago, and since then, it has generated a massive amount of lore for Minecraft's storyline. For example, you've probably never paid close attention to its beak. And yes, the Sniffer doesn't have a typical mouth like mammals do. It has a beak, just like a bird. When you enter the Minecraft world, you'll notice that this mob no longer spawns naturally, and only the player can restore this species by digging up an egg and hatching a baby Sniffer. Today, we'll uncover the full story of this mob and answer the following questions. Could those ancient remains really belong to the Sniffer? Why did they go extinct? Which civilizations once interacted with the Sniffers? How big were Sniffers in the past? And how long ago did all of this happen? Get comfortable. I'm Makus, and we're diving into a Minecraft theory. To understand the Sniffer's story and its role in the Minecraft universe, we first need to study its physical characteristics. The Sniffer belongs to the newest type of mobs, which is why it uses advanced animation, the same kind used for frogs, the warden, camels, and axolotls. But while frogs can realistically inflate their throats because they're soft and stretchy, the Sniffer's extending nose doesn't actually stretch. And that's because the yellow part is a solid beak. That's why the sniffing animation exists, just to show that the Sniffer is sniffing. Physically, its nose cannot stretch. The Sniffer is unique in that it has 3 pairs of legs. No other mob like this had existed before. And with that, we've smoothly transitioned into discussing the Sniffer's body structure. It needs 6 legs to support its heavy body, without a doubt, this mob weighs a lot. It moves extremely slowly, even when it needs to escape from an attacking mob. The most unusual feature of its body is its mouth, or rather its beak. Many players didn't realize it was a beak. Yes, just like a bird's. But that doesn't mean the Sniffer is a bird, or that Sniffers used to be birds and could fly. Of course not. In real life, there were dinosaurs that had beaks instead of mouths with teeth. These types of dinosaurs were exclusively herbivores. The most recognizable among them is the Triceratops. The Sniffer is something akin to a herbivorous dinosaur. It's just as massive and also eats grass. Moreover, from a purely physical standpoint, digging through the ground with a beak is much more convenient than doing it with a regular mouth. The Sniffer's body is covered in bright brown wool, which could indicate that before they went extinct, they lived in colder climates than today. And from an evolutionary perspective, they developed more fur to keep from freezing. Above the wool is a layer of moss, and this tells us that Sniffers likely love moss and everything related to the deeper layers of the Minecraft world. It's no coincidence that a Sniffer's egg hatches twice as fast on a moss block compared to regular surfaces. You won't find any Sniffers naturally in the Minecraft world. For them to appear in your game, you need to use a brush to excavate an egg from suspicious sand or gravel, and then place it to hatch. On a regular block, this process takes 20 minutes, one full Minecraft day. But on a moss block, in just 10 minutes. But because it's the player who has to restore this extinct species, a question arises. How long ago did they vanish? Why did they disappear? And what caused their extinction? Ancient remains found underground, massive skeletons, huge rib cages, giant skulls large enough to fit several people inside, make you wonder, whose anatomy could this have belonged to? A long time ago, I examined this type of bone structure. The skulls closely resemble the faces of guardians from prismarine monuments. One particular skull, the smallest of them all, comes with a body that's longer than the others and ends in a thin, tail-like structure. But the other skeletons, with their broad rib cages, had never been discussed before. I intentionally avoided including them in theories because they had no clear connection to guardians. There are a total of 4 types of skulls arranged in ascending size. Only the first 2 are guardian skulls. Even small Sniffers could never have fish-like skeletal structures like those. The last 2 skeletons are the ones that relate to Sniffers. One of them is a head, but without the beak. If you were to draw the beak in, it would look something like this. The similarities are obvious. Eye sockets, a place for the beak, and a rib cage that clearly indicates a massive, nearly square-shaped mob that went extinct before the player ever arrived. Interesting. Who could this have been? Naturally, the developers likely intended to hint that this was indeed the Sniffer. They lived in Minecraft long before the ocean ruins were flooded. and those ruins became flooded because the sea level rose, which, just like in real life, may have happened due to melting glaciers. So, the world used to be colder, and the Sniffers lived comfortably, much like mammoths. But something changed the climate in the Minecraft world, and a global flood occurred. Here's a question for you. You probably remember from elementary school science that dinosaurs supposedly went extinct after a meteor hit the Earth, right? That classic scenario is exactly what's been shown to us again. But this time, in Minecraft, take a closer look at amethyst geodes. They're only found in spherical formations. Strange, isn't it? Why can't amethyst spawn like normal ores in caves? Why is it always arranged in a perfect sphere? By now, you probably understand what I'm getting at. Yes, and exactly. Take a look at the top layer of the geode. Above the amethyst, there's a layer of calcite, and on top of that, a polished basalt. Basalt, which is essentially solidified lava. Do I even need to point out that when a meteorite enters the Earth's atmosphere, it starts to burn up before hitting the ground? Was this scorched outer crust just a coincidence? So it's logical to assume that the amethyst geode is a meteorite. But here's the problem. It wasn't the only one. It wasn't just 10 or 50 or even 1,000. Millions of meteorites rained down across the entire Minecraft world, drastically changing the climate within the game. Due to the constant meteor showers which pierced deep into the Minecraft world, a global warming event occurred. It's possible that for a while Sniffers managed to live in these new climate conditions. But life was no longer the same, and gradually they began to die out. This is a fairly solid theory as to why there are no Sniffers left by the time the player arrives. It draws from real-world logic. Dinosaurs went extinct due to meteor impacts, and fits with Minecraft itself, because the developers didn't place basalt around geodes for no reason. After all, other ore deposits can generate without it. But there's also a much simpler explanation for their extinction: lack of food. In Minecraft, the torch flower, the flower Sniffers dig up, can be considered an endangered species like one from a red data book. It's this flower that Sniffers eat and use for reproduction. And it's no longer found anywhere in the world. So, no food, no offspring. And without offspring, the population dies out. Any Sniffer can dig up this flower's seeds from blocks like dirt, grass blocks, moss, clay, and so on. I'm showing all of these blocks right now. They definitely weren't destroyed because all mobs, except the warden, treat Sniffers as friendly or neutral. So it's 100% safe to say that the reason for their extinction was natural causes. But how do we even know that other mobs treated Sniffers as friendly? We get the answer from the only known image of a Sniffer, found on a decorative pot. This shard can be discovered in suspicious gravel, specifically in the trail ruin structure. Many people know that the trail ruins once belonged to the villagers. These structures aren't buried as deep underground as ancient cities or strongholds. Their tops peak above the surface. If the shards with Sniffer images are found at that shallow depth, it means Sniffers went extinct not that long ago. By that time, the ancient cities had already been built, but the newer villages hadn't appeared yet. So Sniffers likely went extinct somewhere in the middle of Minecraft's timeline, possibly right around the moment when piglins fled to the Nether. Because their homes were being flooded, a zombie virus emerged and began spreading through the air, and the Minecraft world was being bombarded by meteor showers. That was the perfect moment to abandon the overworld, which likely helped them preserve their civilization in the Nether. I believe that around the same time, humans, like our player, also vanished. This happened due to a huge number of changes on the map. Everything occurred at once, and probably the biggest factor in humanity's extinction was the zombie virus. It's sad that along with our civilization, another mob, the Sniffer, also went extinct. The large versions of this mob were wiped out almost immediately. And the image on the decorative pot tells us something very important. Without a doubt, villagers saw Sniffers before they disappeared. Most likely they were also seen by players like us because our players used to interact with villagers, and villagers even drew our characters. It's unlikely but still possible that piglins also encountered Sniffers. And now, entering the world of Minecraft, you can find a Sniffer egg, restore their species, and help them reproduce. But while exploring dark caves sooner or later, you might start to wonder, were Sniffers once larger? Why did they go extinct? What could have caused it? But after watching this video, you've learned a little more about Minecraft. And with that, the theory about the sniffer comes to an end. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, give it a like and subscribe to the channel, because there's a lot of awesome Minecraft content here. And be sure to share your thoughts in the comments. This has been Makus. Good luck to you all, and goodbye.